So, welcome to the Awkward Femmes podcast. I'm Tiara.
I'm Lucci.
Normally, when we record, we're not in the same room because I live in LA.
And I'm in Atlanta.
So, this is our first time recording in person.
Right.
Yeah. So, we're talking about what it's like to make friends as adults and all the nuances that goes with that. It's just an important topic because when we think about like friendship, a lot of times the friends that we met because they were our cousins, because we went to school together, because we worked together. It's proximity. But as you're making friends as an adult, typically it's based off of alignment. Like, oh, I like what this person is doing. I'm gonna be more intentional about like being in their space, being in their life.
I think even, to add to that, it's also kind of like when you're younger, you can meet on a playground, or like you said, you went to school together or something like that. But as you get older, with everything that's changed throughout life, you have apps, you have social media, like there's all this, you can see certain things about a person ahead of time and how they are, in hopes that they are exactly who they say they are. But you get to have all these moments where you can talk, text, really be able to communicate with someone prior to. And a lot of times it's good to think about what that's going to look like or how you want to start those things, versus back in the day it was like, I like your shoes. I like your shoes. Let's be friends forever.
We're
nothing else.
Let's be friends. We're next door neighbors.
Yeah, let's be friends. Co-workers. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't think about or know how to navigate, like, oh shit, like while we work together and we're work friends, oh, I can't be friends with you outside of here. Like you find those things out as you go, I feel like. So yeah, I think that's going to be a good place to start. We have an icebreaker today. No,
I just wanted to do something to loosen you up.
I don't know.
Like,
yeah. It's the professional. It needs to be professional. And then I'm like, it takes me a second to get into, I'm just having a conversation with my friend.
I'm like, if I just randomly hear her, she'll be like, bitch, what the fuck did you do?
Like, what is wrong with you? What's happening? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can start with like like we're both transplants, and that's another conversation. Like, people often try to make friends as adults because one, they move to a new city where they don't know anybody, or all of their friends are either like married, having kids, and either you want people that are doing those things and your other friends aren't, or you're single and those friends just aren't as available to you anymore. So it is important to be intentional about it. Yeah. And I know how scary it is because really, when you are like trying to be friends with somebody, you have to be really intentional and you gotta shoot your shot, and that can be like awkward. I think like when we actually did hang out, I slid in your DMs.
Yeah, you did, and you invited me. I think it was to Shaka Khan.
Oh yeah. You hung out. You came with Rigel.
Yes, you were like hanging out with some friends at Shaka Khan, and you invited me. And Shaka Khan was already something I think I was into, and I went to, but I went with like my friends. And then I, at the time, was looking for a lot more feminine friends. Like I had some stud friends, but I didn't have many femme friends. And so it was kind of like when you reached out, I was like, okay, this is the moment where I can kind of like start meeting more femme friends, start getting more out there. And like I had like a few before, but Atlanta will fuck that up for you sometimes. But meeting you was kind of like, okay, she's cool. She likes Shaka Khan. She likes his music. She likes his vibe. And you were so much fun. You introduced me to some of your friends out there. And I was like, okay, I fuck with her. I like her.
I actually don't like that music, but that was the vibe. Okay.
Like, she did.
She loves like
I love an EDM.
Yeah. So she always be sending me shit. And I'm like, she knows that I don't even like this type of music.
I thought you did. But like it still is a vibe sometimes though.
No, I'll still go because that's where the people be at.
Yeah, it's still a vibe.
So let's talk a little bit about how we met. So I had already had my eye on her because I had actually I'm not really a app girly, but every once in a while I get on the dating app and I saw her on there and I'm like, oh, she's a Virgo, she looks cool. Her name is Apollonia, like the fuck, like I love the 80s like baddie. So I'm like, okay, she's kind of witchy. And then I was dating somebody that had kept saying like my friend Lucci, but it just never aligned for us to meet. You had invited her to go to see Janine and the Machine. I really wanted to go because I love Janine and the Machine. I'm like, how the fuck she know about Janine and the Machine? That's gonna be my friend. You think that's your friend? That's gonna be my friend. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she probably didn't even know.
She didn't
anything.
She was like, you want to go to this thing? I'm like, who, Janine? Yeah, I do want to go.
And it's so funny because I remember when, okay, so I didn't see you on the app. My first introduction to you was she was speaking about you and she was like, you have to meet Tierra. Like, I feel like you guys would get along. Like, she just really was so adamant, like, you guys need to meet. And so she introduced us at an event.
It was during Pride. I do remember her introducing us. I think you were with your ex, I think, maybe.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Ain't no telling.
I know you was with. Yeah. So
yeah, I do remember that.
But it's so interesting that she like you wanted me to like it was her idea.
Yeah, it was definitely her idea.
I told her, I said I like her. I like her. There are things like she looks cool. Like I want to be her friend. It was not her idea.
No, it was more like she was like, oh, I want you guys to meet. You'll love her. And so I remember when I met you, I was like, okay, she's super sweet. Like, I like her vibe.
But it probably was less weird for her to make it her idea since we didn't know each other.
Yeah, we didn't. And of course, like for her, there also was that thing that she knew where it's like,
did y'all date? Y'all went on a date or something?
I wouldn't even say
date.
Yeah,
did it? Like
we fucked. We for sure fucked. I can't remember if it was like a real relationship vibe for me, but I do know like we were close. We had already frequented the same circle, and it was like almost like one of those you sleep together, but then realize like, okay, maybe we're just cool. So at least that's what it was for me. Don't know what it was for you.
But she didn't even tell me that y'all had.
Yeah. So it's like when she was introducing me to you, it was like, oh, you have to meet the girl who I'm talking to. And I'm like, I'm a big person. I'm a girl's girl. I don't care if I've dated somebody. I typically don't care like if we've dated the same person. I'm always gonna be like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, why not? Unless it's like a weird, I don't want to fuck with you. I'm typically like, why not? Let's do it. Yeah, why not? I'm happy to be here.
I'm the same. Like I'm very open. Like I'm such an oxymoron because I'm a very like not accessible person. Like like you're the nice one. I'm not like, but I'm a very kind of genuine person. I'm
very much
girl.
A pink personality.
I'm a black personality. Like yeah.
I was like, hi, I love your shirt.
And I'm like, yeah, but like so when I moved to Atlanta, that was my first time moving away from home. And I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. My thing was like, I live in Detroit. I do not want to do one more winter. I'm just going to move. Not thinking about how hard it was going to be to leave everybody that I love. So building friendships and being intentional about it. It took me 2 years to even think about it. I was like working, depressed. This is the first time I went to therapy because I had so much anxiety because I was really lonely. And then like the people, get emotional.
You can do it. You can do it. That's what we're here for. That's what we are.
It was just hard because nobody from home ever checked on me, and I was just lonely as fuck. So when I did start making friends, I was in motherfucking bitches DMs. I'm like, look, I'm motherfucking tired of hanging out with these girls that I'm dating. I don't even like that much.
Yeah, because you got to work through that, and then you're like, you meet some of the. Listen,
yeah,
I feel you. It's interesting that you say that. Give me a hug, bitch, because I'm happy. I'm so happy I got to meet you. And it's interesting because I'm like, I feel the same. It took me a while before I actually made friends in Atlanta as well. And at the time, I had friends. Most of my friends back home were straight. So moving to Atlanta, I wanted to be intentional about making more feminine friends and, just having those queer experiences because it was something that I didn't have. The friends I had, I feel like I wasn't seen as much as a queer woman. And so it was very big for me to start to make queer lesbian friends. I had made one and I felt like we were really, really close. But I also felt like, I don't know, I had some scarring relationships. So for me, trying to get past that and being such a girl's girl and not being able to find other women like that genuinely.
But I think you should tell more of like things that have actually happened because we talked a little bit about it before, and like what happened, but don't nobody else know what happened.
So explain that. I didn't have, like I said, many feminine friends, so I had become friends with a girl, and while I think she was super sweet, we were very young. It's interesting because I always had gay guy friends, and when I moved, I started going to like this bar that was right next to my my nail shop. Shout out to P My Nails. They used to get me right. But it was like right by the gay square. And I actually started going to this bar so frequently that I got cool with the lesbian bartender. She was a stud. Name drop. I could say her name. I fuck with you, bitch. Love you. Jock actually like used to bartend. I kept coming in, and then she started just conversing with me randomly. And one day she actually introduced me to, well, first of all, the friend that I had actually like left me at the bar. I was fucked up. I think she had to go to work the next day, whatever the case may be. But our friendship was kind of funny. The best way to say it is like just somebody who I felt like, again, that young age, like if I had to say it, no shade, I felt like it was more like a using type of thing. I don't feel like it was a genuine friendship. Um, and I ended up drunk, stuck at this big age. Now I know I would never leave a friend drunk. Mm-hmm. I would never walk away from a friend at the bar in a strange place, especially somebody who didn't know anyone. All my friends were from like high school and shit. So to come there and be like, bitch, I don't know anybody. Like, why would you leave me? I didn't realize it then, but like now I'm like, why the fuck would you leave me? Mm-hmm. But thankfully, God had another plan. Jacques was the bartender that night, and she actually introduced me to Aaron, who invited me to go out, who like I probably would say he has been the best introduction to making some of the friendships I have in Atlanta now, to allowing me to open up and be myself. He was the first person that felt like home for me, especially coming from a place where I was just this goofy friend in North Carolina, and then moving to Atlanta and being like, don't really know anybody. All these girls are super city, they're super fast, they're super this. Like I felt like I just didn't fit in, especially with my personality. I met a lot of like mean girls coming in. It was a little bit funny, and I was like, damn, I'm not a mean girl, I'm a girl's girl. Like I look this way, but I'm super goofy. So meeting Aaron was like a breath of fresh air, where it was like, oh my gosh, somebody who I could be goofy and like just be a little ratchet with, and like also be me. Meeting that other friend group that introduced me to you was like, oh shit, like now I have a femme who I can like spend time with, who's also into my little rock side, my alternative side, and building that relationship. And it was so easy. It didn't feel like I was with someone who was mean and judgy. It didn't feel like everything, we didn't have to rush it. It built and developed on its own. Mm-hmm. I think you started inviting me out to events. And for me, it was like, finally someone who I can talk to, someone who doesn't take so many things personally, someone who understands that we're moving through life and trying to figure things out as we go. And it meant so much to me coming from, I wouldn't say bad experiences because they just were what they were, less mature experiences, but like it felt good to be like, I'm here. Like finally I have arrived. And even the people you've introduced me to, or even like Tran, I know Tran through that person and through that group that introduced me to you. Had I not had a relationship with them when I first moved here, like I don't even know if we would have been able to, well, we probably still would have because we still have similar personalities, but it's still kind of like that circle where it's like, okay, shit, like this is a group of people. Yeah. I think it's big once you start meeting one person and you vibe with them, you know, you can trust, you know, as you see the people that they're around, you know, you can trust, you know, being around them and the people they're around, and it feels safer like in that circle. Yeah. And for me, like I was meeting people through whoever I was dating, and that I didn't like being introduced as, oh, this is the person I'm dating, or this is such and such as person. No, baby, I'm my own person. And you kind of get put into a box with that. Like when I met Carly. So like all my friends that I met, like I literally had to shoot my shot. I met Carly. We were doing like a workout class with Alex. Oh, cool. And I was just like, every week we were showing up. We really didn't say too much to each other, but I was paying attention. Yeah. I'm like, okay. And then one time we were leaving and we were having a conversation. And I saw her out, and I was just like slid in her DM after that. And we hung out. I actually had a crush on her. It's you sliding into everybody's DMs. Girl, I was sliding. It's the sliding in the DMs. Like, it's the new normal. Like it is. We're not outside like that. Since COVID, we're not outside like that. And if we are, it's not always in an environment that is like, hey, you want to be my friend? Yeah. So if I do follow somebody and I see that we are aligned on some things, or I've been around them and we have the energy, I will slide in your DMs. And not every person that DM I slid in has become a friendship. But some of them have been very successful friendships. I met Carly from the workout class beside her DM. I ended up connecting with Tran later through Carly. Yeah, and like honestly, I was going through such a hard time in Atlanta. Yeah, I was going through that traumatic ass relationship. I wanted to do this episode just because I say like my friendships with women have literally like changed my life, saved my life, put me in a place where I
you know, where I could have just kind of went down a road where it was in a bad relationship and taking care of that person. But having friends would really be like, bitch, what?
Yeah.
And I'm usually that friend.
Yeah.
And I needed that type of friend, and I met those type of friends.
You definitely did. You definitely did. Because I definitely remember all of that in the beginning of us meeting. And it's interesting because I remember like being in law enforcement and you were like really asking for advice. And I'm like, bitch, this what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is it on this level? How you feel about this? And then it also was like, yeah, fuck that bitch. Like, and I think we kind of had like similar, not as dramatic mentally, but we'll never know. But we had similar people that we were dating in that sense where it was like, okay, you're crossing boundaries. Okay, it's kind of getting dangerous. Okay, this is kind of getting to the point to where no, like I need, and like you said, you moved out to Atlanta not really having friends. So it was like trusting these friendships that you're making with these strangers and being like, wow, that's the advice I would give to someone. So hearing it from somebody else lets you know, like, okay, this feels like a secure, safe, relationship to have with someone.
But another thing that I also was able to determine to distinguish between is the difference between history and just having friends that you align with and being intentional. Because you can have friends that you've had your whole life, and y'all have history, so y'all have those old stories, and y'all can kick it or whatever. But when it comes to like being really intentional about like, I see you, I care about you, I'm gonna pour into you, I want to know what's going on in your life, and I'm going to support that. It's just a huge difference, and I don't think I had that in a lot of my relationships. Though, where we might kick it, we might talk about some old shit. We have fun. The vibe is the same, but it's not that. It's not sisterhood.
Once you get past like, this is almost like that growing out of friends. It's like I had friendships and I was showing up as me. I'm always going to show up as me. But I remember there was like a point where, I started to mature and grow in a way where I was like, damn, like I really show up as a friend. I'm really there. I really feel like we're making a connection. I treat a lot of my friendships like family too. Because of my relationship with my family, sometimes it can be weird because family can only know you but so much before it's like, okay, outside of this, I need to share things and be me. And I can't be like that with you because you'll always see the child version of me or they'll always see the cousin, niece, daughter, whatever the fuck the relationship is. But like starting to make friends, and them seeing you and growing with you, sometimes I think it's a similar thing as well, where they see this one version of you. And as you evolve or as they evolve, sometimes it's not on the same level. So sometimes you can just be like, wake up one day and be like, damn, like that's all we got.
We don't have nothing in common.
We don't have nothing in common anymore. I have grown to hear. And for me, it was like moving from a small town into a city. I had made so many friends where they were so creative. They were into the things that I was into. Like back home, it was like I was the creative one, but it also was like to them that was weird. Or sometimes in those friendships, it was like I was creative, but it was hard for them to take me serious in the, evolving that I had done. And I understood it completely, but it also was like, damn, like, no, I've grown so much.
I never really made that connection. And like, I do still have friends that like I grew up with that we still have really good relationships. This side note, that ring is so cute. But I never really thought about the fact that like, the not taking serious part. I do see a difference between like people that have known me my whole life or known me for a really long time versus people that meet me now, where, as a professional, as this, as that, they can see me. But people that I've known forever, they don't take me serious at all.
They know
nothing what I do for a living.
Yeah, they know a version of you.
Yeah.
Like the way I actually described mine earlier, because I was talking to somebody and I was like, yeah, like they asked me what my name was. Someone who I just, am trying to build a friendship with. And she was like, how do you say your name? Like, what is your name? I was like, my name is Lucina. I was like, everybody calls me Lucci. And she was like, oh, well, like, what do you prefer? I was like, I prefer Lucci. And then I had to explain like that I'm a junior. My mom's name is Lucina as well. Her middle name is different. Hers is Charlene, mine is Saray, for those who don't know. And my family calls me Ray Ray. And so it's like, I feel like they have a Ray, like Saray, like Saray. They have that version of me that is the young, goofy, like whatever. When I moved to Atlanta, I got into law enforcement. And for them, it was hard to see that professional or serious version of me. And I think I just kept being related to like Saray, North Carolina, goofy, jokey, like whatever, versus like everybody at my job when I moved to Atlanta was like Lucina or Everett. And so it's like first of all, it took me a second to get used to people calling me Lucina. And then I was like, but that is my first name. And like, I remember somebody being like, that's your first name. Why doesn't anybody call you from that? And I was like, God damn, that is, you are right.
Some people in my family call me TT randomly, but I've never really had a nickname. It's something I always wanted.
Really?
I remember I made my friends in my 20s. I'm like, okay, bitch, I want a nickname. So we start calling me T Baby. It's like a
T Baby? I just be calling you T sometimes. And I'm always like, I wonder if that's okay.
It's so interesting when people do that. And I'd be like, yeah, I like that. Because I never had a nickname. I always wanted one.
Yes. I feel like I don't say it as often because I'm always like, I wonder if like she minds that I call her T. Because some people would be like, don't give me no nickname.
When people be like, yeah, this is my friend T, I'd be like, I'm cool.
Yeah. I'm cool. Yes. I'm T. Okay, now I know that. So I'll lean more into that a lot more often. Yeah. Okay, cool. Oh, that's cute.
So Kelly is your best friend. I know y'all have an interesting backstory. Like, how did you meet Kelly?
It's kind of funny. We actually met because we were dating the same person. And by dating the same person at the same time, I had a boyfriend and he was cheating on me with Kelly. Kelly started to like, this was during MySpace days. So Kelly, like, I can't remember if she reached out to me on MySpace or reached out to me in email because bitch.
She came to you as a woman?
She did. Oh. She reached out and she was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, I'm Kelly. She let me know everything. We always go back and forth about the maturity level that I was at then versus now, or at the time we became friends. But like, when I tell you, I probably was like, bitch, I don't care. He's still paying my bills. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, and she just was like, oh, okay. And I think she really, truly wanted me to be, I was not as much of a girl's girl. Like, I was a girl's girl, but I also was like, girl, I don't care. I'm just getting this nigga to pay bills. Like, and at the time I also had like a little bit of toxicity where it was like, well, that's my man, bitch. So like, he could fuck you, but like, he always coming home to me. Like, that was my personality then. And I remember we beefed for a little bit. She'll deny it, but she tried to fight me one time out at the club. But she'll deny it and just say she said she was trying to get my attention. But for me, I took it like, you want to fight? Like, what's up? Years down the line, she ended up, there was like a tsunami or earthquake in Japan, and he was stationed in Japan at the time. And so she walked by me because we worked in the same mall. And so she ended up coming up to me one day, like, just like, hey, I know we have beef or whatever, but like, I haven't talked to him, but like, have you checked on him? And I was like, girl, I don't give a fuck about him. I was like, I'm gay now. Don't give a fuck about that nigga. I like girls. So like, if you're still talking to him, like, good luck. But I don't care about any of that. And so she just kind of was like, oh, okay. And I don't remember how we got, like, I don't know if it was me or what, but I think I invited her out to like a bar because we just kept seeing each other. And I invited her out with like me and my family, and she came out, and I like realized like, okay, she's actually pretty cool. Growing up around in that same town, it was like, it was hard to find people who you really vibed with. So it was immediate.
It's so important to recognize that there's levels to friendship, and that's absolutely okay. You know, sometimes I meet people, and I think you were talking about a friendship that you were trying to build before, where this person expected you to respond right away, and they were upset because you didn't. But think about it: you have your friends that you're going to be like talking to all the time, and you have your friends that like maybe you only talk to sometimes, but it's still solid and it's still a real friendship. And I think that it's so important to be able to see what type of friend you are, so that you know what type of friendships you can actually have. Because like for me, I am a very intentional, I'm a pull up, I'm a celebrate your friend, but I'm not a talk to you everyday friend. I really don't like talking on the phone. And that has nothing to do with how I value you as a person, and everything to do with like, just I'm a weirdo. It's my personal boundaries, and I just don't always feel like
I don't even think that's a weirdo though. I feel like that's a fair thing. Your career involves so much of your energy sometimes that it's, you know, very important to note that coming into being friends with you. You know, even when I was in law enforcement, it was like I could have an interesting ass day. And I needed people in my life that could understand that sometimes I could get so overwhelming that like, bitch, if I don't answer, if I don't want to talk for a week, that needs to be okay. I'll always be like, hey, I'm good, or hey, got some shit going on, for those that I feel like we have that type of relationship. But for somebody like a high maintenance friend that just like needs so much, I can't.
Do you think that people who are like high maintenance friends is that healthy, or is it like this? Is it a thing? I don't.
I think if it's healthy, it's healthy for you, right? Like that works for you if that's your thing.
Yeah.
I think it's important with friendships to also note as you're making friends with people, it's important to talk about that shit. I think when we first met, it was very much like, girl, I'm the friend you can cancel on. I'm the friend who, like, if you don't want to go, you can tell me last minute. I'm not gonna be mad. Like, I'm only a makeup wipe away from staying home. I am that friend.
I think it's important, like, for people that are like the high maintenance friends to understand the difference between like somebody not needing the same thing you need versus somebody not valuing you or wanting to be your friend. Because like you might need all of this attention and this constant contact to feel like it's a friendship, and the other person might not need that. And that doesn't mean that they don't value you. It just means that they don't need the same things that you need. And like I think sometimes with high maintenance friends, for me, it just doesn't work for me unless they can like respect and understand my boundaries.
Yeah. And I feel like you learn that as you go and you make friends. What's for you is for you, and what's not, it's gonna miss you. It doesn't, and that's okay if it does. I feel like being friends and trying to navigate through whether or not that's healthy is going to go based on the person. Like for you, it just doesn't work, and that's okay. You could have a friend like that, and if they understand that, they'll be like, okay, cool, let me find this source, or let me honestly find this source. Let me find the source of this energy I need from someone, from somebody else. But I can still have this relationship with you, and it doesn't have to be your responsibility or for you to give to me. Like therapy would have been good for that friend, or, you know, that friend recognizing that that's a thing, and like maybe you need to go get a boo. Maybe you need to go get somebody to give you that attention, but it can't come from you. And but that's also not your job to help them navigate. It's also like that's every individual person as they come and grow, like, and understand that.
Yeah, and I think about like when it comes to a hype man, like some people like a lot of attention, that's great, but sometimes it can borderline codependency. So you want to pay attention to when somebody is relying on you for all of their emotional support, or if they're like checking in on you. So I had lunch the other day with someone, and she was saying like she's not very supportive to her friends, and I was asking more questions or whatever. And then when she kind of broke it down, I'm like, well, you're a really busy person. You got a lot going on. I can't imagine that you have the capacity to be somebody's first call for emotional support. And your friends should know that. You should be the last person they call, not the first person that they call, because they should be considering what you have going on. And if you have friends that are like, I need this no matter what you have going on, and not checking in, then that's not healthy.
It's not, you know, if it works for you, again, then it works for you. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have that emotional capacity and you're like, I'm a busy person and I can also take on this and I could if that's you, girl, like,
I want friends that care enough to like consider me.
Yeah.
I want friends to be
it's
like,
important.
You know, if I got this thing, let me just ask her first, do she got the capacity for this? And for people that just trauma dump on you or just have this expectation that you're going to show up, it's not giving mutual.
But I feel like that's also like, again, navigating through adult friendships, learning people that have that emotional maturity to have those conversations. I've had interesting moments even as I've grown. Even we had a moment like where we didn't speak for a while, and it took us a while to even, like, it even took me a while. Like I said, I've had so many, you know, gay male friends. Sometimes it can be very messy in those friendships, very like gossipy, very whatever. And I had to learn, you know, becoming friends with you, like, okay, sharing information or talking too much about personal conversations that we've had that's us. It doesn't need to go outside of us. And having to navigate through that and really, you know, be like, okay, shit, I fucked up.
Because I was done with your ass.
I know you were. I know you were. But it also, like, you know, for me, I never have ill intentions. And I feel like that was such a learning moment for me.
The reason I gave you grace is that I was just like, you know what? Lucci is a girl, but Lucci is a nigga. I'm like, I don't know if she really knows how to really like navigate.
People are still explaining that to me. Like,
I'm like,
you a real nigga.
Like, I was like, I don't know if she really know how to like navigate like girls relationships. So I'm gonna just give her some grace.
Yeah. As like I said, like I had gay guy friends for a while, and the female friendships that I did have, they were not healthy. I knew I wanted healthy female friendships, but I didn't know what they looked like. I'd never had them before. So moving out to Atlanta, even trying to make them, you were probably the first person I started being friends with where I was like, oh shit, okay, like this is it. Like this is meeting somebody who I feel like I can talk to, who I feel like I can be honest with. And even still working through that, I felt like safe, like where I could have real conversations about me, my life. Because that's always a hard thing for me personally. Like I meet so many people and I think they see, here goes that one version of it. Like you can go to my social media and it's like Gucci, fashion, hood hippie, but it's like, no, heavy on the hood. Like the way I grew up, where my family comes from, it's a whole different background. Like I can have conversations with people and they're like, God damn, you grew up like real hood. I also grew up raised by my father. That is also
that
like
another thing where I'm like, okay, I'm like, okay, she's
yeah,
like
by a man who, like, you know, my dad's Filipino and Black, but like he grew up very northern Black, McKeesport, Pittsburgh. Like, and if you know anything about Pittsburgh, it kind of gives a similar vibe to like Detroit, McKeesport part of it. Like it's just different. And that is the man who was like raising me throughout my, you know, teenage adulthood. And that was the person who I was the closest to. So it was very much like the advice I got about dating, the advice I got about like just how to be. It was very strong, very like, you know, niggish, like male like. So yeah, I thought it was very interesting as I started becoming friends with more females where I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. Emotion.
I think the funny thing is I learned how to navigate female relationships at the strip club.
Really? Like, how did that go?
Because I was like 19 when I started dancing. There's all these different women and all these different personalities, and some people are your friend and some people are not your friend, but you can never navigate it. And I remember it was this girl who we were friends. She ended up being so fucking toxic. But one of the things she told me that I always stick to, she said her grandma told her, the less you talk, the longer you live. And I stuck with that because I used to talk too much. Like I would tell my business too much, or like, and people would use that against me. So now I'm very like thoughtful about who I share information with and what information I share. Just because it keeps you out of mess.
It does. It definitely keeps you out of mess. And I learned that very quickly. Even like I said, not knowing and having like innocent conversations and being like, la-di-da, and then realizing, oh shit, like you actually should have kept that conversation.
Because you got to know who you're talking to. Like, the thing that I always pay attention to is, how does this person talk? How do they talk about their friends? How do they show up? Before I share any information, I'm always looking at that.
I was like, okay, I really want to fix this relationship I have with Tierra. I really don't know what to do. I think I even like took a second. I can have an avoidant, you know, personality when it comes to trying to address conflict. I think there was a part of me that was scared, like, we'll never be cool again. And then it was like, the other part of me was like, you know, give it time and let it develop and go on its own. And, you know, if it's supposed to be something more, if it's supposed to like continue to go, make sure I apologize, make sure I really like address the fact that I never meant for this to happen.
So when I did address you, you were so accountable. Yeah. But I'm such a hardcore bitch.
Yes.
I was like, yeah, whatever. But the person that was offended by everything was the person that was like, you should give her another chance.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I honestly thought she hated me too. I was like, oh, she hates me.
She's nice. She's very nice to me.
So yeah, I'm glad we got past that hurdle.
Because I'll be like,
that's the black and pink. I'm telling you. Do you ever hang out with people and you just might not like how they carry themselves in general? So you're like, I don't even know if I would be friends with you because I don't like just how you are as a person.
Yeah, I won't date somebody if I wouldn't genuinely want to be there. Like if I don't see you and I'm like, oh, I love the way you treat your friends, I like the way you carry yourself in part. Like if I don't see all of those things, I don't even want to date you because at some point you're gonna be my friend. So.
Yeah. Like friendship is a part of being in a relationship with someone.
For people who don't know, I'm a therapist and I have a lot of clients who are transplants and they don't have friends and they kind of went through an experience that I had. And I really always encourage them to make friends, especially people who have had harder relationships, because you heal in healthy relationships. You heal in friendship. You heal, you know, when you're with people that show you that this is what support looks like. This is what kindness looks like. This is what intention looks like. And if you've never had that before and you can't get that from your family, you get that from your friends. So it's worth it to shoot your shot. Even if you're like, it's awkward, they might not, whatever. I always shoot my shot. I shoot my shot for opportunities. I shoot my shot for bitches. I always shoot my shot. Because the worst thing you can say to me is no. And if you say no to me, I'm no worse off than I was before I approached it. Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to note, because sometimes, you can be like socially awkward or have social anxiety, or you just don't know. Even in those spaces where I'm not the type of person who would shoot my shot, it's like I still tell myself, like, sometimes it's good to push through it. Sometimes it's good to take that random let's link up. When I had, and I think I still have my Hinge profile up, I don't know yet, but it's made to try to make friends. And I'm like, if you ever see me out, I give resting bitch face. I can be a bit awkward. Like, I put it all in my bio, because it's like, if you do see me, please, like, be like, hey, what's up? Like, I may have a good day. I may have a bad day. I may be like, oh, okay. I may be so socially awkward, but like, but it's like, it's fair to be like, if we vibe in that moment, or if we link for coffee, or if we whatever, like, sometimes those little small gestures can help develop really good healthy relationships with people.
And for me, like, I'm from Detroit. I'm very genuine. I'm not fake. I'm not ha ha ha. Like, if I'm speaking to you, I'm intentional. If you speak to me, I'm intentional. Even if it don't become a relationship. Like, I'm happy to meet you.
Yeah. I remember I actually made friends with someone in Atlanta, and this is actually the girl who I don't speak to anymore. But one of the things I remember her telling me is, as I start to introduce you to people, you might end up vibing with them more than me. And if you do, that's okay, because that's a part of just whatever. And I remember her being like, if me and you stay cool, we stay cool. If we don't stay cool, like, at least you can meet people. And I feel like I carried that as I started to develop friendships with people. Like, you could end up hanging out with me, we could be besties, but like, also, if you meet some people around me that you relate to more, I'm all for it.
That kind of goes into, like, I don't even know if this was the thing we were talking about, but like jealousy and friendship. I do not like that weirdness. Just at this place in my life, I don't want to be friends with people who don't know how to, like, navigate you having other friends. It's weird.
I think that that's strange. It gives almost that, like, ownership vibe. I am a big person on, you do not belong to me. Even if we're dating, you do not belong to me. You are not my property. I don't own you. So even if there's a time when I've dated somebody and they, like, cheat, talk to, whatever, I used to be like a little bit of a crash out. But these days I'm more like, you know what? If that's where you're happy at, if that's where you want to be, I'm not going to be here for it. But go do what you need to do to fulfill that feeling and figure it out. Because if it's not with me, then it's not with me, and I'm okay with that. And that's the same for friendships, where it's like, I've had people get upset about my response time, about my interaction, I just feel like you're just not, and that's cool. I have ADHD. Sometimes I can be like, and then sometimes I could be like 3 days to respond. Listen, so I know. And I'm big on telling people, like, if you need to call me, be like, hey girl, I need you to go look at those messages.
We be in conversation, you be doing something completely different than what I asked you to do. And I'm like, no, but I already said to this.
But I'll reset, and then I'll get it.
But you're so easy to approach. I don't feel any way about saying anything to you, because I know that it's fine. Yeah. And I've had friendships where there are people who take everything so negatively, and and that's like, however I'm communicating to you, the one thing I want people to always remember: my character. My character is always going to be the same. So I'm never attacking you. I'm never coming at you crazy. So anything that I'm saying, even if it feels that way, just ask me if you're curious about it. But like, to have those relationships where people are just like so offended, it's like, I can't, if I don't feel safe enough to have just regular or hard conversations, it's not going to work.
Yeah. How do you feel like, when you've been in those relationships, have you ever tried to navigate through having an upfront, blunt conversation, or would you be like the type, like,
who are you talking
to just let it go?
Me. Yeah. I'm going to always have the upfront, blunt conversation. But the thing about it is, sometimes people can receive it and they can't. And I will follow up again and have that conversation. But then at some point, I'm just done.
You got a point.
Yeah. I'm always going to give you the opportunity, because you don't know what I need. And I don't know where you're coming from sometimes. So I'm always going to give people the opportunity to know where I'm coming from, and if they want to make the correction. And then, sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. But to go back to what we actually started talking about with the jealous friends, I don't know. It's just so weird to me. Like, I mean, are you with your other friends? Yeah, girl, do you want to come too? It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah,
even if y'all don't,
even if y'all don't be like, nah, I'm good. Hit me up when you da-da-da.
It made me think about when I was younger. I used to be like, I'm just not a girl's girl. No, I probably just had anxiety and was nervous and felt insecure.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. Because now, like, I want to meet your friends, and maybe we align, maybe we don't align, but that means nothing to me. Like, I want the people that I love to have all the amazing experiences that they can have in any relationship, in any dynamic. So I'm not censoring myself in everything that they do.
And I don't feel like you're supposed to. I feel like it's also important to know you can have different friendships. I have my EDM friends. I have my, fashion girly friends. I have my gay guy friends. I feel like I have different pockets of friendships, and they can all still be in the same room. But also, it's like, I think it's important to do that and to have people that are cool with that, because we might not always see eye to eye on every single last thing, or like we said, that needy, or that I don't really want to fuck with nobody else. But also, I side eye people who are kind of jealous friends, because then you just want me. You ain't got no other friends. Like, most of your jealous friends are friends who don't have friends. So now this is like
so it's always been a red flag for me if I'm dating somebody and they don't have friends. But in a recent situation, I'm now realizing, like, that has to be a red flag in friendships too. Because if you don't have no friends, or your friends are like really distant, you are the common denominator for them. Like, it's probably you.
Or if you always have a story about your friendships that didn't work out, and all the blame is always, oh, she was funny, this friendship was funny, she did this, and like messy friends. If you got too much mess in your friendships, then I'm going to start side-eyeing and thinking that it's you.
Yeah. And so, like, for me, like, if I tell a story about something where somebody was fucked up, I'm also going to tell my side of things where I probably didn't show up the best. But if I'm listening to somebody and they only talking about the other person, they making themselves like a victim, that's a red flag for me too.
It's definitely a red flag for me as well.
Because there's no dynamic where, like, we're all just showing up perfectly and somebody's always just, like, everybody is attacking you.
Yeah. No. It's like, so you mean like every single bad situation has been just all of them got it?
Yeah.
And
so
you
this
just
has
haven't been able to find.
Yeah. So this has been kind of heavy. I think we should go into messy mailbag. I think we should have a little fun. We do this segment where we answer questions from our audience. Okay. So this question is from Casper the Friendly. Do I ghost? My friend always shows up when she needs something, but when I'm going through it, she's ghost. Am I being petty, or should I cut her off? Anytime you are in a situation where it's not reciprocal, I think that you're paying attention. I don't think that you're being petty. I don't think cutting people off for not showing up in relationships the way that you want is petty. I think that it's a boundary, especially if you expressed it. Now, if you just go ghost, and like, if you've expressed it and nothing's changed, that's something. But if you haven't expressed it, you need to.
Yeah.
If you have expressed it and nothing's changed, like, no. What do you think?
I think it's kind of funny because I actually have a friendship like that, and I think we've even talked about it a little bit. I actually never did talk to her, but I also feel like we haven't sat down and actually like had a moment. But I do feel like it was very much like when she was down and out, when she was going through shit, like, I was there. I was a friend. And I feel like on a day-to-day, or just even throughout the relationship that she had with that person, like, it was like, I don't hear from you. Like, you're doing good in your relationship. But when you're doing bad, I'm your friend.
Yeah.
But when you're doing good, I don't really hear from you. We don't really talk. And I think for me, the biggest thing was like, should I cut her off? For me, I just distanced myself. I feel like I wasn't pressed about having a conversation, but I also was like, until she figures that out, because I don't feel comfortable being the person that you kind of like dump on and talk all this shit about your partner, and then I got to see your partner and still be okay. And sometimes I don't think a lot of people, even in friendships, realize, like, if all you're doing is talking shit about your partner to me, then at some point I'm not going to look at them and be like, I like them.
So listen, I'm a Virgo. If we ever become friends, do not tell me, like, I try to be like very neutral, very open-minded, see both sides. But if you tell me somebody wronged you, I don't care if you forgive them or not, they're dead to me.
I haven't forgiven them
for the rest of our lives. If they did some shit and then they were accountable, okay. But if they did some things and they weren't accountable, I'm never fucking with them ever. And that's petty, and it's stubborn, and it's inflexible, and I don't care.
Just because you're okay with it does not mean that I have to be okay with it. And now, as a friend, you dumped on me about how it made you feel, or I've had to hold you, or I've had to watch you cry, or I've had to, help you through that depressive moment, or I've had to be there as a support system. So at that point, bitch, like, I don't fuck with her. So it's like, if you are like, oh, like, we're back together, I'm a side eye you, and I'm a side eye the whole situation. And I don't know how to go from, fuck that bitch to, hi, I'm not fake like that. I'm just not going to say nothing anymore. And I'm just going to take a back seat to whatever you need to figure out. And, when we start to work through that, because, she broke up with the girl and then it was like a reaching out thing. And we haven't had a conversation because I'm like, I don't want to do it through text. And we just hadn't had a chance for me where I felt like mentally I was like ready to do it.
Yeah. Well, my therapist had the way that I navigate all of my relationships is like, I don't go in like, hey, this is how you made me feel. Hey, this is what you did to me. I go in with like, hey, how do you think you're showing up in this relationship? Do you think that you're showing up as a good friend? What are the ways in which you show up in our friendship? Just to put that shit on them.
Yeah.
Because you can go in and say like, I feel like this is what's happening. And they're like, no. And they can dismiss you and invalidate you.
Yeah.
But I want to know what the fuck you think. Do you so you see how I show up in our friendship? I'm consistent. I support you. Do you think that you match my energy?
See, me and I just be like, when we finally do hang out, I'm more of a like, so I want to get into this and I want to express how I feel because now we're sitting down. I haven't seen you in a while.
But but what makes that hard is when you start telling somebody how you feel and they start getting uncomfortable, they listening to respond and they're getting defensive and they can't hear you. But when you have people reflect on what you're saying, it's less defense and it gives them more of an opportunity to think about like, okay, what am I actually doing? Because if you say like, yeah, the way you showed up, it's like, I'm ready to defend myself.
Yeah. I never thought about it in that way.
Even if y'all get to the point where it's okay and they hear you out, immediately it's this feeling of I want to defend myself. So I always start with questions.
But I also feel like our questions is good when you feel like you can mentally do it. Like for me, I hate to be like those friendships weren't pressing enough to where I even felt like having the conversation. Like they just also weren't that.
Like again, I am much more like a cut a bitch off quicker than you. Because for that one, I would just be like, I'm good. Because I don't feel like you should be the person that have to reach out. If this person reaches out and they want to be friends, then that's a like, okay, this is cool, but we need to have a conversation. And do you think that you showed up as a friend to me?
Yeah. I feel like I had conversations like that with friendships that I felt like, I brought back in or built, like, because I think even, and I can also say even me and Whitney, we had a moment where we didn't speak for a while because I was dating her best friend. And then it took us a while before we came back and we actually did have that, like, how did you feel like you showed up as a friend? Like, did you feel like, you were there for me? And she was like, no. She's like, I feel like it took a second. She had to talk to her therapist through it. And then she really realized like, damn, like Lucci has been more of a real genuine friend. And we had to like really work through, and I had to express like, I was hurt. Like I did feel like I didn't want to interrupt your friendship because that's your best friend. But also like, I knew at the same time, like, you're my friend too. Yeah. And I didn't want to force anything, but I was like, when it happens and it's supposed to happen, we'll have it. And I felt safe when she even came to me and like, we even had that conversation. Now we're back.
And, and that goes into friend maintenance, right? Because like people have these type of conversations a lot in romantic relationships, but they don't have them enough in their platonic relationships. And it's important.
It's very important.
It's important to have safety in your relationships, and you have that when you have conversations. Not just like, oh, I feel a way, I'm going to carry that feeling into it, and now I'm showing up with this feeling and this thought, and I didn't share it with you. And you might have a completely different perception of what's happening.
Yeah, different point of views is a big thing.
Do we got another messy mailbag?
Let's see. Well, this one's a little less fun.
Okay, you want to do that one?
These ones are real, like they're all deep, but yeah. I think this subject as a whole is just deep. This messy mailbag question is from Drama Queen. I have a friend who's fun but always brings drama. I'm trying to protect my peace. How do I break free without beef?
So the thing that I always say to people is there's no relationship that you're gonna have where somebody's not gonna be disappointed. You're not gonna ever have a hard conversation. Somebody's not gonna feel rejected. So a lot of times people avoid addressing things because they don't want to hurt somebody's feelings or they don't want to deal with the confrontation. But that is the nature of relationships. Yeah. So how you address it without beef, I don't have an answer for that. But you do need to set some boundaries.
Yeah, there's no way to avoid beef. There's no way to avoid how someone's going to react or take something. So it's kind of like address it, and if the beef comes, the beef comes. If there's an issue, then just take it as it comes. Yeah. I mean, I do like to layer things. Like if I'm about to have a hard conversation with somebody, I'll preface it. You've did that with a mutual friend of ours.
If I have a friend that's bringing a lot of drama, Like, hey, like I know that there's a lot of things happening with you, but I'm not always in a space where I can navigate that. Can you check in with me before you bring that up? Let's see if I actually have it. Also, if I have a friend that's talking about the same shit over and over and over again, and they're not gonna do nothing about it, it's like, look, hey, I love you, and I've processed this with you so many times, and you've asked me for my advice, and I've given it to you, and you have not taken it, and I still fuck with you. I am your friend, but I ain't talking about this shit no more until you're ready to do something about it. You talking about something else.
Yeah.
But I ain't talking about this again.
Don't call me about this situation again, because I've already expressed how I felt about it. And if you still want to go through the dramatic moment, that's cool. But like, I don't have the capacity to take on saying I'm not a repeat myself as person. Like, I already said, like, bitch,
like if you want me to just listen and you don't want no advice,
yeah,
okay,
that's different.
That's different. But if you're like, but if you want my advice and then you're not taking it, baby, we have limited time, we have limited energy. Emotional labor, it costs.
See,
I'm very intentional about my emotional labor.
See, and I feel like even if you just want to talk about it to talk about it, I still have a cap on talking about it. Like, just that constant, every single day something's going on, or like every time you got the same shit, and I'm telling you, like, hey, why don't you try this? Like, hey, why don't you? And you're still in your grown ass life, like victimizing yourself, or oh, woe is me. I'm not going to keep trying to build that shit up.
It's so hard because some people have found safety in being a victim. But the thing about it is we have no control over the things that have happened to us. And some of us have really been through some shit. But we are responsible for doing something about it. So if you're seeing yourself being in the same situation, baby, it's you at this point.
It's you.
It's you.
It's you, and there has to be a wake up moment. Everybody's life is not easy, and I don't dismiss anyone's journey, but at some point I'm always like, if you don't have that natural kick in, or that moment where you're like, oh shit, like I feel you. Like even we've had conversations, you might be like, I actually think you should maybe did it up, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. Let me build through that. Let me work through that. Let me, like, try to notice that about myself and try to improve in these areas. Like,
and then, like, I don't expect my friends to be perfect. I'm not fucking perfect, but I do expect them to be fucking for real.
Yeah.
So if you just not ready to change some shit, just be for real about it. That's fine with me. Like, you just like, you know what? I'm still doing this thing. I can rock with that.
I can rock with that,
but
too.
I can't rock with the delusion.
No,
because you're not about to keep having me the same fucking conversation, some shit you're not ready to do.
It's a
If you're
loop
not
that
ready,
I'm
bitch,
not
you're not
doing.
ready. That's fine. We all, got our journeys. Okay, so this last messy mailbag question is from Strong Friend 999. She says, I'm so used to being the strong friend that I don't know how to be vulnerable. How do I let my friend show up for me? This is something that I've navigated, and this is something that that I see with the people that I work with all the time, where because they're the strong friend, they're always like showing up when somebody needs support, and they don't want to be a burden. They're like, oh, this bitch got so much on her plate. Let me not be a burden. But when you do that, you deny yourself the support that you could have. And unfortunately, when you're the strong friend, people are not checking on you because they think that you're okay. So sometimes you have to be like, hey, I'm not okay. And they're like, oh, bitch, I didn't know. Because you've helped me with all my problems. I thought you were good. You don't have to suffer in silence. Give your friends the opportunity to show up for you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm not okay. And even if you don't know what you need, but it really starts with you communicating. And then also, your friends are not fragile. Just because they have things going on, it doesn't mean that they don't have space for you. You make space for them. And if they don't, then you need to reevaluate those relationships. But you won't even be able to see if there's something you need to reevaluate if you don't ask for what you need. And I wish I could say that it would be easier and that people should just know, because that's people like, oh, they should just know. Everybody got their own shit going on. It's not always that they just gonna know. So it's okay to just be like, hey, I'm not okay. Hey, I'm not good at saying that I need something. Can you ask me more if I'm okay? Because that might be a better opening for me.
Agreed. I feel like, everything you said is absolutely perfect. I agree with all of it. I feel like for me, I've even had to like reach out to a friend one time, especially like during COVID. COVID was such a weird time. But I remember like reaching out to one of my friends, and I knew she had a lot going on because she's like a single mother. And I remember like texting her, and I just was like, hey, like, I feel by myself. I was like, and I feel like we didn't have any moments where I felt like she was like pouring on me too much, but I had a moment where I was like, can you check on me? Like, I was like, just check on me, like, in a couple of days. I find myself just like really isolating, and I know you have a lot going on, but like, I was like, can you just check on me, because I don't know where I am mentally right now. And I thought it was so sweet because she like would just text me and be like, hey, are you still alive? Are you ready to talk? Like, what's up? Like, and there's even moments where I'm such a strong friend as far as like, I'm about to get emotional. I think I mentioned earlier, I don't have the best relationship with my family sometimes. So sometimes my friendships are like family. And I feel like sometimes it's so important, but it's also like I have those moments where I might not be as close to someone to be like, hey, I'm not okay. Hey, I'm going through something. And to find those safety in friendships, like, even like people like you, to just be like, like, hey, like, I think we even do it where it's like, girl, I had a long week, or I had this going on. And it just feels so good to be able to express those things and like, hey, I'm not okay. This has been difficult for me to like navigate through. I think even like career wise, like leaving law enforcement and being like, bitch, I don't know what I'm doing. It was good to have friends around that I felt like I could say that to, and that were like still checking on me and still super encouraging, like in anything and everything I had, like, and just be like, you got this, like, you can do this, you're not just this one thing. And it helped me feel confident within myself during that process. Like, friendships like that are so important. But yeah.
So I just want to have a sidebar that like we don't be crying every episode. This your first time. This your first time watching an episode. We don't be crying every episode.
We really don't.
And then also I want to say that like she's on her period. I'm about to start my period. But also this really touches me because I think that we don't put enough intention on how important it is to have good friends. It really makes a difference. It makes a difference in the type of shit you allow in your life, because you have people around that love you and they want to see you have the best, and they're gonna show up and be like, hey girl, maybe it's time for you to quit that job. Maybe it's time for you to quit that nigga. I see you. I think you're so amazing, and I don't think you maximize your potential. You should try this. All of those things.
We need those relationships, because I have so many friends where I'm like, girl, you are so much better than this. Even though you don't see it within yourself, you can do this. Like, you got this. Like, even us being awkward femmes, it's like, for a while, I think I was like, awkward is not a thing that's in, to be weird or to like whatever. And it's like, no, bitch, like, we can be our awkward, authentic selves and still have this moment of expressing ourselves with people. Even this, not knowing how to navigate through shit. It's like, we've been so encouraging with each other. Like, we're gonna be great. We're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna be great. We can do it.
Like, everybody just messaging and being like, can't wait, so excited. And we're like, what?
Please wait.
Please give us a second. We're still crying on episodes. Like, give us a minute.
Yeah.
But like, encouraging each other through this process, I just don't see myself being able to do it with anybody else, where it's like, okay, we'll be all right. We got this. We'll figure it out.
We'll be all right.
It'll come as it comes. Like,
so shoot your shot. If you see a girl and you like her nails, or you think she cool, or you liked her comment, shoot your fucking shot.
Slide in a DM. Like,
because just like you are looking for people to connect with, so are they, and they might just be as awkward and uncomfortable with it as you.
And you will navigate through that as it comes. Like, just be you, and the right people and the right relationships will find you.
And be you. Like, you. I think sometimes people just be like, oh, people are gonna judge me, or they other themselves. There's so many people in this world. It's somebody that like the same exact shit as you. It's somebody that feels exactly like you do. It's somebody, but they won't know that if you're not true to yourself. You won't find your people if you're trying to be something else.
Do not show up as a representative in a relationship. Do not show up as a representative as friends, because friendships are deeper than just, the relationship you have with somebody, or trying to be cute or whatever. Like, when you're starting to make friends, you have to be your authentic self, or else the friendship won't last long.
Yeah, I really feel like friendship is just family that you're creating. It's the family that we have our family that we're born into, and then this is the family that we make, and you have to be yourself to make that family, and you deserve that shit.
You do.
You deserve that shit.
You deserve good, healthy friendships, good quality friendships. And if you feel like you're in a place where you don't like your friend group, or you have to grow out of it, Same thing we talked about earlier. Like, know that's all a part of growing. That's all a part of evolving. If you want to keep those friends and, you know, evolve a little bit more, cool. If you want to let them go, grieving friendships is also a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Sometimes it's harder than the actual relationship you're in, because it goes way back to like babies sometimes. But like, it's okay to grieve those relationships and start over and build new ones. It's okay to still have those relationships around and distance yourself from whatever, you know, growth process y'all, you know, have gone through, but also still keep it cool, keep it cordial, keep it cute, and
we
go
haven't
into
been
new
recording
ones.
this whole time.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I am. I just wanted her to stop talking.
I'm like, goodbye.
All right, bye.
We love y'all.
We love y'all. We gotta do our gang sign.
Oh, gang signs.
Bye.